Alright guys, so I am back. Got everything fired up. See, I got my IP address here. I've already set this all up so I can show you how I did it. You get your data signal flashing, your two data signal flashing on the other two. We're using the HP power supply. Got my Raspberry Pi over here set up. This is what we're looking at on the screen. So, first thing I did was went to network, unchecked the wire DHCP enabled. I actually put in my IP address that I want because I like a static IP where my actual router is at. I set up my own stuff, and I still have the network hotspot, the Wi-Fi hotspot still enabled, so we can save that. I went to testing next, and not actually testing, current monitoring, pixel counting. So current monitoring, pixel counting, I can count pixels, and my pixels will all light up. It shows 42 on port number 1. So that's the string of lights that I have just bundled up right here. Didn't know how many I had. It doesn't count for what's on the two remotes, but it does take into account what is there. You can copy the counts to the outputs, which I've already done, so I'm not going to do that. We come over to making that copy counts to output. We have our outputs here. I have this one set up as test number 1. This is based off of my X lights that I set up to make sure it worked from X lights. It has 42. There's 50 on 17 and 50 on 21. 17 is going to be the first port on the first receiver. They're daisy chained, making the first one on that one 21, because you go 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Thing I love about this setup with Experience Lights so far, I've got 16 usable ports over here. I've got 4 more plus 4 more, so I've got an assortment of ports. That's 24 ports at my access. I currently run a Falcon F16 with a 4-port differential receiver. I lose 4 ports off my Falcon by doing that. Here, you gain 17 through 20. You gain 21 through 24. You have 2 DMX outputs. You can daisy chain. I have that dial set at 0. I could actually tell it where I want this to be, but I don't worry about that. This is smart enough that I have them both set at 0, and everything works flawlessly for me. I did do an update the other day, so we can go under testing. I can turn test mode on. My lights give a nice flash. It's on a rainbow. We can turn them all on. We see rainbow. Beautiful rainbow colors going left to right. We can watch this string here. We can look over throughout the shed and see the others. You got some different things you can do here, which I haven't seen on any others. It'll mark 50 pixels. So everything that I have is 50 pixels. I could do this on my house right now where I have a string of 175, and I would probably find where the 50 pixel mark is. I could do output identification. So the fun thing to this, output identification, that's number 1 on port number 1. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 lights on for port 17. And then trust me, that's 21 lights telling me that's on port number 21. It's amazing what they have in the test modes for us. You can do a chase, which is typical. You can do meteors. I like meteors. It's a different way of testing. So just some fun. Whole lot of Experience Lights come up for us, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. You have your home. It's plain Jane basic. I'm not used to that. We have our inputs. I'm telling it it's DDP, my start channel. This is all based off of X lights, so what I'm playing with right now. Your output page, I have everything down to 1. I have everything else set to where I need to. You can monitor the current. So 243 milliamps being pulled on number 1. Doesn't show the rest. It'd be nice if we could show the other ports. And we have the update page. The update page is where I clicked here, went online, found it, chose my file, and updated it to 1.1.0. I know the guys are working flawlessly to get everything up to date as there's glitches. I think the only feedback I have is, since I've got the 2 4-port receivers, I'd like that to show up on the pixel count if that's possible. And then I'd like to see how many amps those are drawing. So when I get my whole show up and going next year, I can really see what's going on. You got a lot of stuff going on this board. I can test from the computer. I can turn test mode off. I can come over here and I can hit test here. It's going to put everything in a test mode. I can cycle through the different tests. So you see a difference of what those are doing. Looks like a solid. Somehow I turned them to the single. That's the pixel count. So it looks like the testing on the firmware update also went to the test button. So if you don't have access to the computer, looks like we have access to do it from the test button, which is pretty cool. Again, I didn't see a lot of stuff on YouTube or online. I know the guys are doing a great job when they make these. There's not a lot of information about this yet since this is new. But it's amazing. I can turn off the test mode here. I'll show you how I did a FPP. So, Falcon Pi player, use a Raspberry Pi 4. I have my inputs, outputs. I just code them the same way, the easiest way to go across. So it's going to start on 7326, 7452, 7602, same numbers that are showing up on my Genius controller. I can go to the status page, I can go to display testing. I can enable that test mode. It usually works, and it's not working for me right now. So I'll have to figure that out. Something along the lines of testing the other way, and it didn't work this way. Hope this helped you guys understand what we got going on with this Genius controllers. I'm going to be getting a lot more of these and getting into probably building these for people. Order my boxes soon, my extensions soon, put a box together and get this test board out of the way and actually get this loaded into a box for a tree next year.